I think overall in that regard, Street Fighter 4 was better. But Street Fighter 5 did have some things that were not bad. Like balancing, for example. I don't think it's like a stretch to say Street Fighter 5 had the best balancing of any vanilla game. I think what made Street Fighter 5 not so enjoyable to watch was like comebacks not really being hype anymore. I think this is like a big thing. Actually, like many different bad things came together to give Street Fighter 5 a hard time when it comes to being like a spectator. Didn't even attempt to. Oh yeah, right. Like popping V-trigger would not have done anything there. Anyways,
you win.
Street Fighter 5 had so many problems that I think it was hard for people to enjoy early on as a result. I think people had way higher expectations, rightfully so, by the way. Like, this is not on Capcom disappointed. And I think as a result, even the gameplay was like, you can definitely critique the gameplay of Street Fighter 5 and say, hey, this could be better, right? Definitely true, but at the same time, it's not that bad. It wasn't, even on release date, it wasn't that bad. But what people really had an issue with is, like, clearly Capcom has not really polished the game the way they should have. And so people started to poke holes even in something that wasn't that big of a deal, like the gameplay. Yes, the input lag was a big deal, I agree with that. But people started to say that, oh, in Street Fighter 5 there's no skill, and unlike Street Fighter 4, which is absolute nonsense. People started criticizing the game for stuff that were issues in other titles before. Wow, I could not jab him there. I guess I can't really talk on this topic without dying, so let me concentrate. I'm trying to fire while I'm getting crouching fierce. I'm trying to do a solar plexus, I'm getting a jump. Fuck this netcode. I'm really upset about that one. I'm really upset about that one. Let's just enjoy you kicking ass. Here's the thing, Denjin. I've actually toned it down already to the detriment of my points. Whenever there's a lot of issues with lag, I noticed I actually developed a mechanism to cope with it. I stop caring about the win, like, completely. And what will end up happening is when bullshit happens that I'm not in control of, then I will just let it go in order to not become salty for the entirety of the stream. And I will just give up and not even attempt to win. Because if I try, and because I care, then I will get angry when something happens that I'm not in control of that makes me lose. So in order to make sure that doesn't happen, I don't try, because if I lose because I didn't try, that's easier for me to handle. The only gap that was closed was the execution gap, and that has never been a real factor for competitive play. Saying that the skill gap was closed because of execution is nonsense. Because links are slightly easier now, that's what makes you think that that's how you're gonna win. I remember a time when, like, here's the thing. If Street Fighter 5 was such an easy game to play and win, then why are not random players winning tournaments? Why are the same players that have always been winning. Also, like, we have new blood, obviously, with Street Fighter 5, right? But the same thing happened in Street Fighter 4. I remember a time when NuckleDu was considered, like, such a new player that he didn't deserve to be at Capcom Cup. I remember that when he qualified for his first Capcom Cup, and people were like, oh, the system is stupid. And they pointed out that a system that was good would never have had NuckleDu qualify for Capcom Cup. Nowadays, this idea is absolute crazy, obviously, because NuckleDu turned out to be like one of the best players in the world. But back then, we had the same discussions in Street Fighter 4 about new players. Yo, King Masters. GG's earlier, by the way. The Teabag Master. I'm playing against the Teabag God. Take a look at that. I can't even, like, how does he move forward or backwards so fast? Like, take a look at that. Look how smooth this is. I can't keep up. I can't keep up. No. And they say execution is dead. Oh, got him. Oh, wow, what a mistake. Got him. Oh, really? At the end of the day, what we want is we want to reward players for skill, right? We want to have a system in place that rewards players who play well and who practice. They should consistently win over other players, right? And here's where we can have a really interesting discussion about Street Fighter 4 and the system that was in place back then. You could actually argue that one-frame links added inconsistency, right? Because even top players that practiced them, they actually could not do them consistently. Even Sako drops Sako combos. And if you're at Evo and you drop like one major combo, that's potentially going to cost you the match. It's like not just like a small thing that happened. It's going to cost you the match. And I think this is worthy of a discussion. By the way, I'm not saying that one-frame links are bad for skill. I don't believe that at all. I would love to see them make a comeback, but it's definitely worth having a discussion about it. It's not that straightforward. If you make something inconsistent for humans to do, even for the top players, then you will have a situation where you drop a combo and you lose a turn because of it. Even if you practiced it many, many times, you are still going to get punished. I think this kind of inconsistency people are okay with in general because you're in control of it, right? You're like, the inconsistency is introduced by your own decision that you made to go for this difficult combo. You don't have to go for that combo, right? So you're taking a risk there and you're in control of the risk. I think this is why people are generally okay with it, which I understand. I think that's not a bad way to look at it. I mean, here's the thing. If you take a look at Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 4's biggest weakness is the knockdown game. Every character, as I said, has an issue because they're all mix-up characters the moment you land a throw. You can have an ambiguous jump-in situation, for example, or even worse, an unblockable jump-in situation. That's pretty bad. Like, that's like really bad for skill because you're taking away the consistency right there. Street Fighter 5 solves this problem in particular with well, let's remove hard knockdowns, right? So that's something to consider. Like, from my perspective, in case you didn't know my take on Street Fighter 4 versus 5, I think Street Fighter 4 had the better neutral game, and the problem of hard knockdowns was solved in Street Fighter 5, but the neutral game itself is worse than it was in Street Fighter 4. That's like the bottom line for me, something like that. Oh, I'm so happy there's no lag. So happy we can play this without lag. It's not the online, Jimmy. You're just missing inputs. Keep forgetting about that one. Too many times victory or defeat depends on luck. How do you define luck? Here we can have another like really fundamental discussion because everyone has a different definition on what luck actually is. To some players, like guessing on knockdown is luck, right? Because you don't know what your opponent is doing, therefore the outcome is dependent by luck. But it's a different kind of luck than literal luck. It's not luck. Oh wow, I made a mistake. Anti-air medium kick. That's not luck, that's mind games. I agree. I think, like, so in my opinion, the real definition of luck, okay? Like, I think luck is used in a lot of cases where there was no luck involved. You made the wrong call and your opponent made the right call. That's usually what happens in Street Fighter. There are very, very few mechanics in Street Fighter that are actually luck dependent. There are some. There's actually one that is kind of interesting. That was absolutely crazy. Oh, I could have killed right there. I can't follow up like that without V-trigger. My bad. What just happened? How did that EXDP work? I really hate how Rashid players, by the way, get a free 50-50 on this. If I press a button and they go for the actual V skill, then I die there. If instead I go for the fact that they will go for the attack, which is unsafe, they get a free mix-up. I really hate that. I think I have to practice a delayed attack there There has to be a way to cover both options at the same time. It's actually a big gap in my gameplay, I think. How is he in range for a throw when I'm walking backwards?
Keep up the climb.
Okay, got him. Oh wow, okay. Is that worth it? Probably, yeah. Not bad. That was close, damn. No! He was still so good. Jimmy, I think that if you're gonna use Ibuki, you'll reach 100k faster than with Ryu. I would have to learn Ibuki first, and the reason why I'm not reaching 100k faster is not because of Ryu. It's because I don't spend a lot of time in rank, that's why.
Round one. Fight!
Hadouken! Hadouken! Hadouken!
Okay, damn, like the rounds are so one-sided every time, right? Either I completely annihilate him or he does that to me. Which is why I don't like the Ibuki matchup, by the way. I think the Ibuki matchup is so dependent on like some key moments that you're not really in control of. I don't like it. Like, by the way, for those who are confused about my statement, since I'm basically just grinding rank when I'm streaming most of the time, right? I'm still most of the time, like, I did the math on this. I spend around 10 hours per week in rank if I don't have any gaps in my streaming schedule, okay? This is assuming a perfect schedule, which did not happen this week, for example. So this week it's even less than that. Assuming a proper schedule, I play around 10 hours in rank per week, something like that. There are players who spend more time daily playing ranked, so keep that in mind. The bottleneck when it comes to reaching Ultimate Grandmaster and Warlord is really the time investment. Is that only counting the time spent in matches?
Round one. Fight!
That's counting the time spent actively looking and playing matches. Do you think the difference between Trashbox and other players is the skill level? That would be ridiculous. At some point, it just becomes about the grind. Not sure what he's doing because he's giving me free ways to go in. It's actually amazing.